in the lab. No, we're not in the lab. We're in Justice League headquarters again. We're in JL headquarters right here in Port Wentworth. Guess what? Guess what? Another special one. We got another special one. We said, oh, y'all share, share, share. This is a special segment right here. And we deal with agriculture. AGRI hyphen culture liberation. And we got, I'm going to say this one, the greatest people, experts with regard to this, our brother Joy Bryant in the house. My brother, how you doing?
Man, I can't complain. How are you?
Doing excellent, doing excellent. So we're going to throw it on. That's what did Run tell that. That's what we're going to do. My brother, who are you?
My name is Joy Bryant. I am a descendant of Stadville Plantation right outside of Durham, North Carolina. Also, my people are the Bladen County folks coming out of southeastern North Carolina. I'm a farmer. I am a historian. I'm a chef. I'm a little bit of a root worker, you know what I mean? Not I'm a little bit, just a little bit, you know what I mean? I'm working toward it, you know what I mean? And I'm in a forager, you know what I mean? That's my new thing. I'm getting into this foraging, this healing.
And that's what happens. Some people don't understand. You do one thing, and guess what? It begins to open the doors for other things. You catapult and go to other areas right now. So y'all hear the brother say he forged it. And so this brother right here, like again, dynamic brother. So now we get into this. We're gonna get into it because you already threw someone. You say who your people. You know, like if you want to get further than that, but we'll go to this right here. Who inspires you? What inspires you?
Oh man, my ancestors are my biggest inspirations. I just did this. They asked this question at this workshop I did yesterday, and it was interesting the way people answered it. One thing that I answered that question was my people are barefooted, and I don't know why I said that, but that just inspired me. That my people are river people. My people live on the river. My people are, my people are growers. You know, people who grow food, grow plants, speak the plants, the plant whisperers. Yeah, like those. My grandmama could. She say she could talk a plant back to life. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So that's what inspires me, man. My grandfather was a organizer and a community activist, and I'm always trying to make him proud. You know, make all of them proud. Really.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's right. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yeah. So we come to this right here. What song or songs give you that that when you hit like bam, it hits you?
Man. Sheesh, that's a tough question.
Well, it could be an artist. It could be artists as a group. So
yeah, I was gonna say there's a couple of them, man. Christian Scott Atunde Ajua has a song called Her Arrival. And for those who don't know who Christian Scott Atunde Ajua is, he's a trumpet cornet player from New Orleans. And he also got a song on his latest album. I think it's called His Crown or something like that. But it's from that tradition of the those they call them the Black Indian folk in New Orleans. They do that traditional work there. And so I love jazz. Jazz is like a spiritual thing for me. Like when I'm out in the garden, I'm always playing jazz for my plants. You know what I mean? I think that music, the vibration of that music encourages growth.
Okay.
And fruit bearing. So I'm always playing that for my plants. And I'm also, I'm an 80s baby, so I love hip hop to death, and not like us is a bop, you know what I mean? So I gotta it sets the line between those of us who got different agendas, you know what I mean? Yes, so I appreciate that music as well.
That's okay. All right. We got it. Y'all heard it. So we're gonna do 3 little quick videos, and we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna go right into it because it's kind of essence of what we're talking about, what we're gonna be dealing with. Again, we said everyone share our platforms of Facebook and also YouTube. We said that everyone share, put it out there, and we thank all y'all who are checking out the show. And we're doing well, Glad to have you all. So this is from this morning. Our producer was supposed to be there. Our producer, President Alcona, supposed to have been there too, but he wasn't there. Just to let y'all know, he was sleeping. I can balance it. I can balance it, but I just don't want to do it right now. So what the deal is? So what the deal is? Uncle Bob got Rodney out here. He got Becca out here. He got Flossie out here. He done had us out here before day clean. We harvesting the watermelon. That's what Uncle Bob got us doing out here right now. Flossie right here. You know, then you got Becca right here. See, y'all see Rodney right over there. So again, we right out here, promised land. We are harvesting watermelons right now, out the field, harvesting. So we signing out right now. Making sure. Y'all see, I got my. Y'all know this is our brother Rodney Parker right here. Now I'm gonna let y'all know this. I told Sabrina this. Rodney gave me some blue Aztec corn seeds. I planted them. I planted the blue Aztec.
You sure my sister Sabrina gave you those?
It was Brother Rodney.
All right.
I got it from him. But Brother Rodney ain't tell me because I went and harvested the corn like 3 weeks ago. And I peel the corn, take the whole shell. I think the corn gonna be blue like the seeds were. Mm-hmm. They ain't blue. They ain't tell me I had to wait. I was supposed to just let it stay out here. Let it turn blue. He didn't give me that knowledge.
I'm still learning too. I ain't get that knowledge either.
So that is it. When you first pull it, it tastes like sweet corn. But you gotta let it go through that process. That melanin got to come into it. That melanin. So I finally learned. Now that's why some of the last remnants, I'm just letting it stay on here. Yeah, they ain't let me know. Yo. I done walked all the way from Port Wentworth. I'm here on Hilton Head right now. Y'all know I'm on Hilton Head. See Renee, house right here, and Richard right over there. You know, Raquel, RJ, all of them. Ryan, all of them. Their house right over there. So I'm just saying, I walked all the way. I got this boneless ham, this yellow meat, because y'all know I am the adopted foster child in the Murray Green family. I'm the adopted foster child in the Murray Green family. But guess what? I'm the one walking from Port Wentworth here to Hilton Head, taking this to Cousin Bonna's house. Because her daughter, Nita, because again, she has unruly children and unruly grandchildren. Her son-in-law. So, yes. It's a Terry Mobley. No, they don't sell the seeds of the yellow watermelon at Promised Land Farm in Port Wentworth, Georgia, 269 Monte Road in Port Wentworth. But you can come get it, and then you get your seeds from there. And so what y'all saw on Hilton Head, that is a family compound right there. That's some of my relatives over there, my unruly relatives. I did walk from Port Wentworth, some 45 miles from Port Wentworth to Hilton Head Island, and I walked back. So that's like a total of 90 some miles. I did that today. Why you shaking your head, bro?
Sheesh. Hey.
And then here's the thing. I had learned the blue Aztec corn. I thought literally that bad. It was gonna be blue.
Gonna come out blue.
Yeah. Agriculture. That's what I thought. But then when I read up on it, I'm like, wait a minute. You gotta let it be out there. I'm like, it gotta get melanated. So that's why I think it gotta get it's melanated corn. So that's why I like it. Agriculture. My brother.
You know, that's interesting thing. That chemical compound you're talking about is called anthocyanin.
Okay.
And it's closely associated with an antioxidant. That you heard blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
And so the anthocyanin is what actually makes it blacker.
Okay.
And it removes those free radicals from your body, those things that cause cancer. So that color, that's super important when you get that dark hue that dark purple down the black color going into it goes all the way back to red. But yeah, that's an important process. So I'm sorry to take that side note, but I just had to add that in there, man.
That's why you on. I'm about to spin around. That's why he on. Now y'all understand. Terry Marvin, I'm not lying. I'm gonna come back to that. Terry Marvin, I ain't lying. I did walk 90 miles, but that's why you on here, bro. That's why you on here. That's why we got you here. That's why I know we can't just have no one show. So, my brother, why is this even important? Why is this agriculture? Why is this even important to us on so many ways? And so I'm going to share some right here. I'm sure don't want to tell that. So people see me do some presentation. They see the African Spirit do some presentation, and the African Spirit will talk about yam communities and talk about yam communities as communal communities. People come working together, and that. So I'm let y'all know. It was him. It was him. That's where I got it from, because that was the Spirit. The Spirit get information. So this one time, I'm admit it was him. The Spirit got it from. He was the one, and we were standing right there on St. Helena, and I'm looking like what with a Yende right there. I'm like a Yende out of Atlanta. I'm like looking like he don't know. He's a yam community. So just go ahead and just flow.
Oh man. So you bringing me back though, man. That was such a special time. And you don't know this, but that conversation was healing for me as well, because I was in that space a little bit earlier, and agriculture to me is such I like the way you broke it down, agriculture, right? Like, it's interesting how we frame these things around our how we relate to the earth. Really, that's really what it's all about, right? I'm gonna be doing a presentation on foraging in August, if everything work out. And we call it foraging because we colonize people. They ain't used to call it foraging. You know what I mean? Like that's like I got my stepmom. Her people is from the Gullah Geechee area, and she said her dad said he used to go out and get his rations.
Sure.
You know what I mean? They won't call foraging. Right. It was going out and getting what was meant for you. You know what I mean? Whether it was that what we call up here in North Carolina, that rabbit tobacco, or that life everlasting. You know what I mean? Right. Like you're going to get what you need. And so for us, reason why agriculture is so important is because it's the closest thing we have to reconnecting with our ancestors, right? The farmers that I work with are repositories for culture. If you want to go and learn about the old ways, go and see if you can find an old farmer, old farmer in your community. Those most likely gonna be the people that can get you as close to that pre-colonized ideology that we picked up along the way. And so I'm gonna just let it flow. And I apologize if I'm all over the place, y'all. But this is all good, important topic to me. So when we was having that conversation about the yam, it actually started with us talking about okra first.
Right, you're right. Okra, yeah.
Yeah, and okra and the importance. Okra is a spiritual plant to me. It's such an important plant. Okra tells the story of West Africa, of West Africans. Because okra starts in East Africa, and it's those people who migrate to West Africa that take that plant with them to different areas. I've been I introduced a new plant to my family, to my extended cousins this year, called jute leaf, which comes from West Africa, and I got it from a brother from Sierra Leone who looks just like my grandmama's people. Okay. And he was telling me, he said, he gave me the seed, and we got to talking about okra. He said, well, if you want to understand okra, you're gonna have to go to the Bantu people. Those are the ones that have the most knowledge about that. Okay. King Bombo was what the word they call it. And there's about that word translated about many different core languages, Mende, Bantu,
yes,
the Ga languages, or the Kwa languages, which include Igbo, go all the way over to the Ga and the Fanti, Awe people, right? And that's where we get the word okra from. Is from the Kwa. And that plant has so many different applications that was lost in translation when it came to the Western Hemisphere. But what interesting thing is, I was in Colombia a couple of years ago, and I saw okra in Colombia, and the people that didn't call it that, right? They didn't know what it was. I asked them what it was. They said it's medicine. That's what they told me. They said it's medicine, because, and that's a part of that indigenous group there and how they relate to the plant world, right? Is that everything is medicine. Food is medicine. And so as we got into more in depth in that conversation and the importance of okra and all the different applications, and you actually shared something with me. You remember what you shared with me about okra?
I'd say one, with regards to, for me, I'm going to say that it was a plan of liberation and freedom. And with regards to some of our people, with regards to what they call the abortions, again, people not wanting to have their children to come into this world. With regards to some people talk about the miscarriage and other stuff like that, but something induced by okra. Mm-hmm. The inside pods, they take the inside pods with regards to that. So yeah.
So I actually shared that with the ethnobotanist friend of mine who just called me a few seconds ago. Actually, his name is Justin Robinson, which we got to get on this show.
Yeah, I'm saying you saying that. I'm like saying, absolutely, absolutely.
And he was sharing with me that it also works both in men and women. It's in that relationship, so it actually can reduce the sperm count in men as well. And I was like, man, I've learned so much more about this plant. He talks about it being in the way you eat it raw, so it's in this original form that it can actually. It can actually be used in that way. So that was an interesting thing. You taught me something that led into another more conversation.
Yes, sir.
So agriculture, man. Agriculture is the base of all economies everywhere. It's the first. If we looked at like the food pyramid, right? If we think about those type of things, in the food pyramid, you had that baseline of grains and starches. It's like that for a reason. Because grains and starches, what determines the type of economy that you will have in a pre-colonial world. So, so you talked about the yam people and the yam culture. So, this book right here, you can see it. It's called "Perspective on African Communalism." It's written by Igbo brother Ike Odimegwu. And the reason why this book is particularly interesting versus other books about African communalism is because the Igbo saying is the universe is a marketplace.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Uwabuahi is how they say it. Mm-hmm. And a very interesting concept.
My brother, what I'm gonna do, because we're gonna go to we're gonna do a break right now. We're gonna come right back. We're gonna be a short break because I want you then to get This why he on here. This why you need agriculture, and y'all heard it. Spirit, physiological, and also economics all tied to this. Some people brush it off. We're gonna come to this commercial right. We're about to do this right now. We are here. Yeah.
Need your garments cleaned with care and with a professional touch? Then bring them to One Price Cleaners in Garden City at the Old Farmers Market on Highway 80. Service you can count on.
Hello, I'm Richard Coleman, and I'm running for the office of Sheriff of Chatham County. And when I'm elected, I promise to inspect what I expect. Chatham County, it's time for a change, and that change is me, Richard Coleman.
We are back. This is Run Tell That with Brother Joey Bryant in the house. Again, one of the experts with regards to our spirit, our land, our water, our being, ourself, our people, our history, and agriculture. So go ahead, brother. You about to get, because I ain't want to take no break, because this is the part right here. And so again, Terry Mobley, and guess what? I have no reason to lie about anything. Go ahead.
So yeah, we were living off on Uabuahia, which is, it means the universe is a marketplace. And you know, there's, when we start talking about African philosophy, African spirituality, we could spend a lifetime studying these things. And so Uabuahia comes from the central component that the earth, right? The Yoruba actually say that the world is a marketplace, right? That the earth itself. So Afia, that word is translated as exchange. Actually, like we translate the marketplace. That if you're going to set up a market in Igbo land, you cannot just make a market. You have to actually go and they do something very similar to dowsing, and they see if this place is already a marketplace, right? And the reason why that's important is because it's central to the concept of land, and they're the culture there, not the religion. The culture there is called Odanani, which means as it is with the earth. So you don't tell the land anything; the land tells you. That's number one. And so the marketplace is the place where originally the yam would come in and be exchanged for services, for goods, and other things. And Ahia is not a place, not just a place. It's also a system and it's a concept. Okay. And so the system of Ahia or Afia is a system where the Susu, which many of us might have heard of Susu in the past, Susu is born out of that system. And so the yam producers will come and sell their yam, and they would collectively make an agreement on how this market would be held. So there's this concept called ego and afo, and the ego is like one of the teachers who taught me, his name is Derek Ofodunwa. He says that the ofo is like a lease, and the ego is like the sheriff that enforces that lease, right? You don't pay your rent, the sheriff comes with you out. So the ofo, or the ego and the ofo, the marketplace, is the agreement of why we set this market up in the beginning, so that we don't get greedy, that we don't put our own needs before the communities, and any other principles. And they take that ofo and they hang it up in front of the market. And so that Susu is born out of that ego and ofo, which people pull their resources together and they invest in younger people because they want to enter into the market. But there's another concept that goes in there called Obanye. And Obanye means given born, right? And the given born is something that is given to those who fall on hard times or who provide a service to the community that won't allow them to grow yam and other things. And are we just talking about one region of Africa? I could spend hours talking about this, but there's also the rice community.
Yes.
Right? And the grain community, and they're very interesting people. So let's go back before we get into that. The yam community, because they have these implementations of that, what some people that would describe economies, they would describe this economy as market socialism, right? There's another component of that yam community that's called Imo-Ahia, which is learned exchange, and that's a system that still exists to today, where people are taught trades, and they go up under a master tradesman. But that master tradesman eventually gives all of his customers and all of his network over to the people he's trained. And those people become the new master of that particular industry. And so though in those markets in back home in Igbo land, in those markets traditionally ran by women in those geographical markets, and in these emo out here, these trade markets were ran by men.
Okay. Okay.
So that's just a portion, like a snapshot of that. But this is important for us to understand because these particular folks were people who were brought to the Americas, and Black economic centers were set up by the descendants of these people.
Go ahead.
And
so everybody that y'all heard what he said. He from Durham, North Carolina. So that's why he got through a Black Wall Street. That was doing Black Wall Street. Hey, Ty, he got through that on out there. Hey, Ty, just don't think about Tulsa. You got to go, hey, Ty. I'm just throwing it. Go ahead.
Hey, I mean, but I think that's an important conversation to have because, we got a lot of confusion going on today around Black economics.
Yes, sir.
And so, I brought this book up because I want us to understand the difference between capitalism and communalism.
Okay.
What our ancestors was practicing was not capitalism. It wasn't capitalism. And you could tell the difference. I mean, it's people to know me. I've done plenty of podcasts, and I will sit up here and I will talk junk about Black Wall Street, not because it was anything inherently wrong with Black economic centers, right? Because our idea is what that is.
Right.
But because it created a class distinction between those at the top and those at the bottom,
okay.
Right? We're talking about agriculture again now,
right?
Right? Ain't no Black Wall Street without Black tobacco. Let's keep it a band. It was the growers that built that thing, but it was not the growers that benefited from it. So, and so that's the primary thing, and we got to get back to understanding those growers and how important that. Going back to what I said earlier, those folks that are doing that are culture bearers. They are holding on to our tradition. You know what I mean? So one thing I fell in love with when St. Helena Island was the amount of culture that was inculcated. When I was out there with a Yende, he had us out there cast nets for fishing, and it was other people from the community coming out there. Man, that's material culture. Fishing for your own sustenance. That not only is the agricultural component in a self-sustaining component, it's a tradition that dates back and takes us into something that roots us back spiritually, culturally, and philosophically to the earth. And so we got to get back to understanding those components, man. I'm gonna yield and let you ask me another question.
Okay. And just like one of the points that you indicated, yam produced us to be communal, helped us to be communal. And so now let's talk about when you discuss this conversation about rice. Let's get into that right there.
Oh man, so rice, man. Rice is hard work. Rice is
absolutely
rice takes a community to raise. Yam, and I'm gonna refer back to yam because yam. The reason why that market socialism component existed is because it don't take that much people to grow yam. They do take, you could take a family, we got to get out there and work it. And we got to get out there and raise barns. That's something our people still do. We raise barns together. But rice takes everybody in the community. And so the Jola people is the people who I've learned and I've grown. I have Jola ancestors who came in through Lower North Carolina, and they lived in Southeast North Carolina. And the Jola people of Senegal, they really call themselves Ajamat, the Ajamat, and they got the name Jola because the word Jola in Bambara means to pay back. So whatever you do to them, they're gonna do it back to you.
Yes.
And those folks, they govern their community on the production of rice. Because it takes everybody to do it. And so they actually have their spirituality, the economy, everything is driven by the rice production at their community. There's a great book called Power, Prayer, and Production. And it's specifically about how the spirituality of the Jola people actually drove the work ethic in the rice fields.
Okay.
And it was the rice production that was governed by a few elders that answered to a deity that determined what the rice production was going to look like. So, mind you, if you look at this governmentally, right, you have a few people who are essentially folks who have the long experience and are selected by their community, who are answering to something higher than them around what the elements are going to do around this production of rice. And how everybody collectively is going to move in that production and share that production, the yield from that production. So this particular structure would be something very close to central planning, right? In a central planning economy, right? Because everybody, the women are oftentimes in this community, or people assign women at birth, or oftentimes the ones who are the harvesters of this rice, and the men are the ones plowing the fields and preparing the paddies. And there's certain folks that might be both men and women who control the flooding of the fields for the wet rice. Now there's a dry rice that grows in the upper part of the nations, and my brother from Sierra Leone is going to bring me some back, so we can plant some. And I actually talked to a Lumbee brother that told me that they have some dry rice seed in central North Carolina that comes from this region. We're gonna compare the seeds to verify this. And so that is a different style of production because you don't have to paddy the field in the same way. But that production is a full community project. Everybody is intended and will be a part of it. And so now in this side, and this is why you asked that question about why this is important, because we are living in a world under the assumption that we should not be involved in the growing of our food. We should know where our food comes from, that's somebody else's job. Now, when you look at the basis of that, though, you got to go back about 200 years and you can realize why they say that, right? Because this nation was built on a time where there was an enslaved population growing the food for others. So why are we working off that assumption as a descendant of those folks? Right? Right?
Go ahead.
How are we going to build our own economy if we working off their assumptions?
Go ahead.
You know what I mean?
Go ahead.
So, and that insinuates that somebody has to be working for almost free in order for us to get the food that we have.
Right.
Right. And that hasn't changed in our economy.
Right.
But we have to outsource the large majority of our production to people who might not have a certain citizenship status as we do.
Guatemala, all that, yeah. Honduras.
Our economy is based on that type of exploitation. And so because we have that assumption in our community, like how are we gonna get free with that assumption? How we gonna liberate ourselves working off the assumption that somebody else supposed to be growing our food? And also the assumption in that is that our relationship with the environment is a distant to near past. You know, I recently started several garden clubs here in our city. Usually it's an ecology club, it really is, but I don't tell them that. I just say because our job is to get our people back connected.
Right.
You know, we can't continue to let people dictate to us what our culture should be. And so, you know, when I talked about being, you know, root working, my great grandfather was a tobacco farmer, a root worker, and a healer. You know what I mean? He was all of those things. And, you know, and I just want to be like him when I grew up, you know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because, you know, the medicine is out there. The medicine is in my backyard.
Right.
You know? The medicine is also something that recently happened this year. I'm gardening. I started gardening at my father's home because I had to get him back connected. And we had some beans, some Sea Island peas from down there. They wanted to take over the garden, you know. We had some pumpkins. They wanted to take over the garden, and so I was like, well, you know what? I got to cut this stuff back because I need my other stuff to get some light now. And I asked myself a question when I was doing that. I said, now, am I going to throw these greens off these beans away? Am I going to throw this pumpkin leaf in the trash? And I said, well, can I eat it? You know, because when I went to Nigeria, I ate pumpkin leaf soup.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? And so I looked it up, and then they said, well, these Sea Island peas and these cow peas, they high in vitamin E and vitamin K. Those greens are. And they said this pumpkin leaf is good source of phosphorus. And so I said, you know what? I'm about to cook this up. And I blanched them greens and I added it to my stew. And so was that foraging? you know
that was getting rations.
That was getting my portion.
That was rationing right there. That's good. Doing the work for rationing. That's right. Getting your rations.
I was getting my ration, and so we've been taught to only eat the fruit and not understand that there's medicine in the leaf. You know, we have to undo the teaching that we've picked up along the way and go back and get back what our people used to have. You know,
I just want to interject because you're saying something. This is why I've recently been showing people for the past year that folks in Sierra Leone look at us. They're like, and I tell people this on my journeys, on my tours. I said they look at us and they're like, y'all are wasting the hibiscus. The sour side, y'all wasting it.
Hey,
making a drink out of it. Y'all can eat the leaves.
Eat the leaf. That's
even this week. Well, this past week, when I said, they're like, "What?" I say, "You do it just like you do in greens." I say, because they have dishes, and some people start saying, "You know what?"
Hey, listen, I'm gonna share something with you.
They gonna say that, right? And they I've had the dishes. But go ahead, yes, sir. I want to throw that out there just to.
So I did
what you're saying.
I did a talk on collard greens, and I'm about to get in some trouble right now talking about collard greens, but I'm going ahead and go and get into trouble. I feel like it's all right to get in trouble on this show. So they wanted to bring me in to talk about Black traditions of collard greens, and I was like, well, you know, one problem with that is that collards come from Europe. And you know, and mind you, you know, us as Black people, the ingenious component about that is that we become the repositories of culture. We hold cultures, that things that are given to us, and we hold on to, and that's a beautiful thing. But you brought up Zobo, right, which is the Hausa word for hibiscus. And we believe that we get hibiscus through the Hausa people. That's why we use that word Zobo throughout Nigeria.
Right.
So when you that sour flavor profile that people cook collards with, right? Now if you eat the drink of hibiscus by itself, don't add nothing to it. What's the flavor profile look?
Okay.
It's sour, ain't it?
All
right. So when what we did for collard greens, we took the flavor profile of Zobo and we
right. All right. It seemed like he may have gotten frozen on this.
We start, adding that stuff on. And so that's really us trying to emulate that Zobo flavor profile. And so, now we can just grow Zobo. We don't got to grow the collard greens no more if we want to. Now you can still grow your collards. I ain't gonna take that. But you can just grow Zobo.
Some gonna say Sukuma Wiki, out of Uganda and also Kenya. So yeah, so throw that on out there. So yeah.
So and I'm actually growing some Zobo this year for that purpose of eating the green.
Okay.
Also some water leaf,
and
some scent leaf and some jute leaf. Because reintroducing those crops and teaching our people about it is something important.
Yes, sir. The president of Our Black Media, he likes to go and get the hibiscus, get the fruit, and just eat it all right, just peel and just eat it just like that. That's what he like to do. He said because he down like that. He said he don't need no drink. He said he just take the fruit, bam, just eat it just like that. The president of Our Black Media, Julius Hall, producer also, but have me doing the commercials, other stuff like that. When I'm the talent. But anyway, go ahead, continue, brother, continue.
So
Oh, I forgot. We got to take another break right now. I forgot. I was just so caught up what you were saying, and then thinking about how the talent, got to do the commercial. So we're gonna take a break. This is Run Teller, brother Joey Bryant, right here. We're gonna come right back. We're gonna nam talk some more. We're gonna eat talk some more. We are back. We are back. This is Ron Telvav. Said all of y'all glad to have y'all checking out the shows. All the accolades being shared. Again, they haven't put them up, but producer could be doing that. But again, we are glad to have all y'all with us, brother Joey Bryant in the house. Go ahead, brother. Continue this conversation. We Nam talk. Nam means to eat, so that we Nam talk disregarding our culture and history. Go ahead, brother.
Man, yeah. Nyam, the Nyam is a Bambara word for eat. That's where we get the word yam from, actually. The word for it in Igbo is G, which means to hold. It's a beautiful thing. Anyway, so we talked about those rice communities, we talked about those yam communities, and there's another community that's very special, and that's the plantain community, the Bantu. Mm-hmm. Also the watermelon people. There's a statistic out there that says that the average African American is 1/3 Bantu. Real interesting thing. The Bantu, they organize themselves in something called the Mbongi. And the Mbongi is a political democratic system. And the interesting thing enough, all of these systems that we talked about are democratic systems.
Exactly. Go ahead.
They're all the Afia is a democratic system. They have the word in it's Igbo Inwe Eze, Igbo have no king. The Jola, the rice people, they don't do kingdoms. They are a elder-led community. And then the Mbongi is a democratic system. And the premise of that system is based off of the plantain, which is I was actually sharing with some farmers while I was in Nigeria. We were talking about plantain growing. They was talking about how hard that work is. And once again, it's the labor it takes, the economy. And so the Mbongi system, the plantain grows very similar to the banana. It takes a lot of intricate work to plant and to transplant them, because they like to grow at the feet of their elder trees, and you have to create space for them and get them to a certain sapling size before you can move them. And it's intense work. And so that system, the Mbongi system, there's a writer, Fukiao, who writes quite a bit about the Bantu and the structures and the Bantu is a huge group that covers both southern East Africa and goes all the way to West Africa and goes all the way to South Africa or Rhodesia. And so that community covers so much space. But in West Africa specifically, where the Mbongi sits, they govern themselves in this system that actually, if you can see the key cosmogram that I have, it's about birth, life, death, ancestral, and I'm actually going to be doing a convening around this. But our ancestors are part of our democratic system.
Yes.
They determine. They determine how we move forward as a society, and that's one thing that we have to recognize about ourselves. So And in the same way, the plantain is also, and all plants are, they're ancestral, right? Like I talked about the okra coming from East Africa. Also, the same thing with the rice and the grains of those rice, and we brought these things to the Western Hemisphere with us. The watermelon simultaneously, but the plantain specifically is a plant that clones itself in a particular manner, and so you're actually getting a direct descendant of this plant, and so it feeds into the way they set up their democratic structures and the way that they distribute their wealth in their communities. And the Mbongi system has been studied by quite a few societies and how people go around setting up democracies. And so like those things kind of give you this look into how, number one, for me, the reason why agriculture is so important, because it calls me back to these points, but also how do we think about setting up our future society? How do we think about, those things? Because we got to eat, number one.
Right.
Right. Also, agriculture isn't only food; it's also clothing. It's also, raffia, which is the roofing and the housing. It's so many components into the material world, and so understanding that material world from an ancestral point of view is something that the Mbongi system brings to us, and that democratic system that allows the ongoing passing down from generation to generation. This structure to move forward as a community is something that people are now even trying to emulate and study in order for us to get back into another structure for our communities now. And it's something that I'm still learning about as I move forward. My South Carolina ancestors are the ones that are teaching me.
Okay.
So
you threw it out there. So let's go watermelon communities. With regards to that, let's get into that conversation.
So
tied to economies. In fact, I'm doing some economy people specifically talking about economics, how this would be financial literacy, all of that. So economies with regards to watermelon.
Oh man, so the watermelon actually they overlap and they overlap many ways in the Bantu community. So you have like the Bamalinke starting in that. So I was actually talking to a brother about this. One of my teachers who lives in South Africa right now. He was born in Cameroon, but he's Igbo in ancestry, also Ibibio as well. And we were talking about watermelon. He said, well, we don't really eat watermelon like that. We eat the greens, you know what I mean? But if you want to know more about the watermelon, you got to ask our brothers to the south of us, you know what I mean? And so that Bantu community, once again, you got like the Lingala, you got the Mbundu, you got the Chokwe. That community is actually one of the premises of what we get Haiti. So what people don't know this about Haiti actually came out of the Prince Hall Masons. And these people were patting themselves after Haiti, right? Yeah. And so, that community in Haiti, that Bantu community in Haiti, and also that Congo Square community in New Orleans, right? These are our remnants of these Bantu communities, and one thing we see coming out of those spaces is a commitment to liberation. And obviously, like Haiti, there is no Haiti without Haiti.
Right. Exactly.
And a beautiful I want to call her philosopher. Her name is Sylvia Winter. Sylvia Winter talks at length about this community in the way that they see the world. So they come into this world. She writes this thing called Black Metamorphosis, and she's writing about this entering into a new world and coming in as an indigenous person from Africa into this new space, right? And this is what these folks offer us, right? They offer us a way of coming into something new, but bringing an ideology with you that doesn't want to transform this space into something new, but fall in line with it and figure out, how do I now become a part of this environment? How do I live ecologically in this space, right? And the interesting thing about that word ecology and economy is they have the same root, right? Oikos, which means household, right? And so these folks are coming in Mbongi actually translates is also is in house, but they're coming into this space and they're entering into this world in a way that's not only transforming, like they can't help but transform the world they're coming to, but they're also transforming themselves to fall in line with it. So how do I translate? And that's the work that our ancestors did. Like my ancestors, they prayed with cola nut, right?
Yes.
Cola nut breaks into four. A good cola that you pray with breaks into four, because for the Igbo person, everything happens in fours. It's 4 market days, aka Ore Afo and quote, right? There's 4 directions and there's 4 elements. They didn't have that when they got here, but what we did have was the hickory nut, right? Specifically the shad bark hickory nut that breaks into 4 naturally, right? And so like that, those watermelon people are offering us a way, a view of entering into a space and seeing the world as it is, but also translating what we had back home into what we currently have. And that's an ecological perspective that we need to revisit, because one of the most devastating things that will happen on this planet is for Black people to become the ones that are harming this earth, as folks who are the closest to it in many instances.
And see, now I will go here with you. This is what I shared with folks. I shared this when we were in Charleston with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers with some of their officials. And I had shared this before. I said that African Americans, especially Gullah Geechee people here from North Carolina down to Florida, southeastern Florida, I said that we are indigenous people. And the first archaeologist with the Park Service, with the Army Corps of Engineers, when I said this, he was like, "Doc," I said, "Yeah, we're indigenous people." I said, because all you did, you ripped a group of people from one part of the world, then you transplanted them right over here. Mm-hmm. And guess what they did? They, just like based on what you were saying, all they did was just manifest what they do in the environment that they're in. That's why I tell folks, you can see people still, African people in general, they manifest Africa in the environment that they're in. But for Gullah Geechee people, we are indigenous because that will we keep it from the language to with regard to the food waste, with regard to the agriculture, with regard to our familial relationships, our economic system, how we function, what we look at. And when you talk about the rice production, that's what we're engaging with regards to rice. And that just going to what you were sharing. And I told folks, I've done presentations last year and told folks on tours, I took them over to St. Helena and other places. I said that the watermelon was a fruit of liberation also. It was a fruit of liberation and a fruit of economy. I said, because guess what? I said, watermelon growers were able to now send their children to college. Gullah Geechee people were able to now send their children to college or send them to boarding schools if they didn't have a school right there, say on Hilton Head Island. So they sent them to Penn School. So, and how was someone able to do it? It was the production of watermelon. Wow. But then going back to some other things that you had said earlier on that we buy in, since I'm paraphrasing what you're saying, we buy into narratives of other people. And that's what we live based on that. And I said that, so guess what? In these narratives, when people talk about, I don't want to be caught up to a stereotype of watermelon, I said, but you don't understand. Mm-hmm. They threw that at you all because they saw that you all being successful in the production of it. They had to come to you all. So operating that economic system, y'all had control of it. And so that's why now it is the racist mentality that comes into play that throw it out there and say that people are watermelon, they're slovenly, they're lazy, all this. They were creating this 180 for you all not to identify with it. But at the same time, they write the Caucasians who are producing watermelon, they talk about how industrious they are, how wonderful they are, how, they're massive. So I'm like saying, you got, at the same time, it ain't even congruent. Here it is, y'all are lazy, slovenly, and all the stuff like that. But a Caucasian doing it, oh, he's industrious. He's about economy. So that's why I'm like saying, and so when I shared this with this group, these are teachers, educators, when I shared it with that last year, they're all looking at me like, I had never thought about that. I'm like, right. I said, that's why we are sent here. That the ancestors and the Most High sent us here. So that that way, bam, when they threw it at us, we now articulated. That I'm not saying that ain't Jamal. That is basically the ancestors now throwing it out there. you need to hit them with this, that is liberation, because that's how education came about for some of our people who are now, their children now get that experience, their grandchildren get it. And so when you're saying that, I'm sitting here right here, you said that metamorphosis with the sister, that guess what? That is not something that's idealistic. Yo, like I shared last year with Rodney Parker in Charleston, that is real for us. We are the living embodiment of that metamorphosis. We are it. So it's not theoretical, it is real. But now it goes to what you're saying, that how do you not handle it? What do you not do with it? And how do you not get the cloak of that madness of these other people off of you right now, and you put on your proper garments?
That's beautiful.
My God. Oh my God, my brother. And so I did not mean to do this right here. You got 40 seconds to give some insight. We're gonna have you back on. I'm gonna let you know we're gonna have you back on, because I don't know issue with our producer.
Yeah, I would just say, what I want us to understand is just like you said it beautifully, man. I don't even know if I got nothing else to say. Just understanding the colonial project that was enslavement, but also the way our ancestors resisted, and getting back to those ways, because that's the only way we're going to get liberated. We're going to get liberated by getting back those ways and shifting the way we see those narratives, like you just talked about. I always tell people to be like, I don't want to go outside. I was like, that's because you colonized. they want you to be afraid of the environment.
Mm-hmm.
They want you to be afraid of the environment.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a way for us to actually see how much work we got to do, is when I'm scared to go and be in touch with nature. That let me know how much I need to work on myself.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're gonna have the brother back on. We're gonna talk about how he talked about the enslavement, how you enslave plants. We're gonna do that. Then also, I'm not gonna ask him right now, but next time I'm gonna ask him, what is the greatest high school in the entire United States? So he's gonna get it right, unlike other people. So, but this is Run Tell That. But our brother Joy Bryant, brother, we're gonna have you back on. We're gonna talk about that further. And we said, all y'all share. Check out all the shows on our network, Our Black Media, and we have the Rabble coming up next. And support our sponsors: Davis Johnson Bolters Law Firm, law offices in Savannah, Atlanta, and Statesboro. One Price Cleaners located at the Farmers Market in Garden City. Kim's Cafe, 714 MLK Junior Boulevard. Chef Food and Gas. Don't ride by. Stop by. Don't ride by. Stop by. And we'll see y'all next week. Peace and blessings to all y'all.
like that.